What if Kurama became Naruto's ally from birth? How would it change things for our hero? Will he finally not be lonely? Let's jump right into it. But before that, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Oh, and you guys can help me get more reach now for free by hyping this video. I don't know how it works just yet, but if you know, please consider helping. Now let's start. October 10th. This day should have been the greatest blessing given to a certain couple. However, fate decided otherwise, simply because life treats everyone equally without care for status, gender, or even mental state of individuals. Therefore, even the most joyful moment of history can become a dreadful apocalypse by a turn of events. The fox was finally free after centuries of imprisonment. Confused at first by the genjutsu casted by this cursed Uchiha he had seen too many times, and not knowing how he managed to broke free from its control. Now his attention was focused towards the man cloaked in white with hairs of gold and his previous jailer. The red-haired woman in a dire state after her childbirth and severely weakened by the release of the demon minutes ago. An altar? These mortals are planning to seal me again. In this pathetic newborn. The giant fox thought, clearly enraged of being already planned to be a weapon of destruction again. The young mother let a blooded cough escape her mouth, alerting her husband rushing to her side, and the furred creature won't let this opportunity slide. Now, he exclaimed, his fangs targeting the baby at full speed, already thinking of everything he could do after being liberated, probably helping his brethren to achieve the same. But his thought was quickly dismissed as he saw both parents impale themselves to protect their child. What? How? Why are they so resilient? From where their strength comes from to be able to hold me this strongly without fainting. And again, this thought was interrupted as he was forced to listen to their last words. The speech of a mother wishing the best for her son, knowing she would never be there to love him, scold him, comforting him, and all of the duties she signed for at the announcement of her pregnancy. Surprisingly, every word she said resonated with the demonic figure, starting to remember his own speech, the one he and his 8 comrades attended to before their father passed away. This memory alone was enough to mildly soothe the beast, his pupils showing a sign of regret. Oh, that's why. A slight chuckle could be heard from the fox. However, none of the humans present here noticed. They were too concerned by the gravity of the situation to care about the rekindling morals of a former monster. What did I become so hateful? The old man warned us, and here I am, becoming everything these mortals are mistaking me for. It was time for a decision, one that would change the world for better or for worse he couldn't know. He hoped it would make a difference in the long term, and was determined to atone for all the years he missed, lost in hatred and anger. Kushina, you were an annoying, relentless moron until the end. Maybe if I tried to communicate with you, things could have been different. Oh well, no need to mourn the past. I know what to do now. As he watched Minato forming the hand signs for the seal, a single thought crossed his mind while staring his new host. Good luck, Brad. You'll need it. Hope I can be there soon enough before you mess up. Hack Fuin. Those were the magic words needed. A flash of light appearing for a slight second before revealing only an orphan in the scene. Years passed since the tragedy, yet left many scars among the survivors, be it physical or mental. During the first years coming after the apocalyptic night, civilians and shinobis alike were relieved about the Nine-Tails' disappearance. They could sleep without the thought of a disaster longing far back in their heads if the Jinchuriki lost control. But a rumor appeared. The demonic fox was alive and well, contained in a young, blue-eyed blonde boy, marked with whiskers on his face. No one in the superiors knows who spread the secret, and the third Hokage took many measures to be sure the orphan never ever learn about his condition until he was capable of defending himself. But it didn't take too long for every villager to decide to put their fear, hatred, and sorrow into the infamous child. After all, he was the one responsible for their grief and nightmares, right? At the Hokage's office. Honestly, this is too much. We're lucky he still didn't broke and release the tailed beast after all this time. The old man rumbled in his beard, disappointed by the behavior of his citizens towards the child hero, not knowing why he was so hated by his peers. Troublesome. Why can't citizens have any decency after everything that happened to us already? The black-haired Jonin leader responded. I suspect the bastard Danzo to be responsible for the rumor. Try to push the kid in hopelessness to control him later. He's the root leader after all, and you know he'll do anything if it can benefit Konoha. Damn this old geezer, honestly. Shikaku tried to maintain a stoic figure, but even a blind person could notice how angry he was. Hiruzen clenched his fists. Yes, I can see him doing something like that, but I never expected him to sacrifice the youngest generations for the village. Kids shouldn't be dealing with our problems until they're genin at least. So what do? You already know many of us would adopt Minato's kid without flinching, especially Inoichi and his wife, given her relation with Kushina. Hiruzen sighed. I know Ryo was one of Kushina's closest friend, and she wouldn't mind in the slightest adopting the last remnant of her comrade, but unfortunately we can't let him join any family right now. His status as a Jinchuriki make him too important to be adopted by a clan. While I'm sure he would be loved by anyone, the council would be wary of everyone, thinking the clans would try to obtain the Nine Tails' control for their own benefit. So once again the problem is this damn fox, huh? Shikaku clenched his fists, barely able to keep a straight face due to the boiling anger he was feeling, ready to explode. Yes, the best I can do is to keep the ANBU watching and protecting him. Kakashi is especially effective at this job, and I can't say I'm surprised given how close he was to Minato. Hiruzen replied, Smart move, old man. I guess at least he's safe with him around. But what about his relationships? I've seen how lonely he is. It's unbearable. No one dare to talk to him, and they're not scared enough to drop the constant insults. I already told my own son to keep in touch with him, and it seems Choza did the same with Choji. They're not really close, but he got company. And I'm grateful for that. Don't worry about it. I visit Naruto every time I can. Every birthday is celebrated, and I'm proud to say I'm close enough to call him my grandson, and he always called me Gramps ever since he could speak. Hiruzen chuckled. Well then, I hope he won't hold a grudge against the village. I'll try to check on him too, and I'll probably tell Inoichi to ask his daughter to give Naruto a chance for friendship, but I don't think it'll work since he already became the total opposite of the Uchiha brat she's crushing on. You mean Uchiha Sasuke? How do you know this? It's basically common knowledge, old man. Shikaku giggled. There isn't a single girl in the academy who don't have eyes for him. Troublesome if you want my opinion. They spend more time trying to get his attention rather than study. I feel like by the end of the graduation exam, we'll have less than 10 genins. Hiruzen began to laugh. We should let kids be kids. Who knows? Maybe one of these girls carry the revival of the Uchihas if Sasuke is willing to open his heart later. Fair enough. Well then, Lord Hokage, it was my pleasure. I'll do my best about Naruto's situation. Now if you excuse me, I must leave. I don't want to be scolded by my wife. Shikaku said with a little bit of fear in his words. It was my pleasure as well, Shikaku. Greet young Shikamaru and Miss Nara for me. After this little talk, the old man realized it was already the end of afternoon. This late already? I better get ready to pick up Naruto at the academy before someone try to mess with him again. Ninja Academy. That day was the same as every other for the 8-year-old kid. Always alone when the lessons finished. Sitting on the swing attached to the tree near the academy. No interest for the teachings since no one cared to answer his questions besides Iruka-sensei. He was strict and always wished the best for Naruto, yet was proven very ineffective years after years of failings and complete inability to perform the most simple jutsu, the Bunshin. In theory, it was simple, mold a tiny bit of chakra to create a clone of yourself. But for some reason, he was unable to produce a convincing one despite his efforts. Even the chakra control exercises were hard for him. His only skill was taijutsu, and he was just average, his saving grace being his stamina to outmatch his opponents to the point of exhaustion. The mask of an annoying prankster and cheerful guy who never gives up was starting to crumble. Deep inside his mind, the boy wondered if everything that was said about him was true. A failure, condemned to stay dead last, hated by everyone for no reason, and incapable of accomplish his dream to be Hokage. I wonder how it is to have parents to rely on now. The boy thought, tears ready to fall on his cheeks. Why do I suck this much honestly? It's not even complicated. It's not fair that I suck at everything and don't even know who my parents are nor if I have a family elsewhere. And that was it. The angered tears were dropping like rain on his face. Unable to control his pain, his sadness, his anger, nor his tears anymore, Naruto rushed towards the nearest forest to hide. He was too ashamed of his own misery to let people know about it. Not that they would care anyway, according to his judgment. Hiding in the shadows, the Chunin with white hair, covered by a bandana, chuckled with mischievous joy. Oh, at long last Konoha will be cleared of the demon, and started following the prankster. Hiruzen arrived at the academy 10 minutes after Naruto's escape. While it wasn't rare for him to be missing, today was weird since he promised the boy he would offer him ramen for dinner due to his good demeanor for the whole week, without any pranks or missing studies. Lord Hokage, what brings you here? The scarred teacher asked. Oh, Irika, by any chance did you see Naruto? We were supposed to meet here today. Irika paused for a moment. I think I saw him running towards the forest near the academy. I don't know why. It was sudden. Maybe he's trying to trick you? Hiruzen hummed. It's not impossible, but I still want to check. Would you mind coming along with me? I know you're the only teacher he can tolerate. Irika was surprised about this fact. It brought a smile on his face. Oh, really? He never told me. I suppose it must be because I'm the only one who can tolerate him, too, he commented with a little laugh. It doesn't bother me, Lord Hokage. Let's check on him. In the forest near the Ninja Academy, Naruto was sitting alongside a tree, with dried eyes as he finally stopped crying. He was ashamed of it, but had to admit it felt good to let go for once. Can't give up yet. I still have 4 years to go before the graduation exam. I can do it if I try hard enough. He was resolved. A lack of talent didn't mean he couldn't succeed. Haruno Sakura was a living proof of this fact, due to her civilian family, yet outclassing every clan with her grades. She was a book smart and tried hard. Maybe he could even ask her how she was doing to learn so many things without her brain exploding. He was interrupted in his thoughts by the sound of approaching footsteps, and quickly recognized the man. Hey Naruto, what are you doing here? Mizuki-sensei? Oh, I was just reflecting on my performances, and I think I'll be starting to take the lessons seriously, he explained with his usual grin. Don't worry, you won't have to think too much about it. Mizuki smirked. Huh, what do you mean by that? Yes, it won't matter. Mizuki was barely able to contain his excitement. Because you're going to die here, filthy demon. W, what are you saying? If this is some joke, then it's super lame, and Mizuki-sensei. I could teach you how to improve, though. Naruto tried his best to lighten the mood, but he was extremely nervous. Why would a teacher speak to him like any other villager? They were supposed to treat everyone equally after all. Shut up, you demonic fiend. I tried hard enough all these years to not kill you, but today is the day. The village suffered enough from Kyuubi. Naruto was sweating nervously. He was scared. Very scared, and shocked by what Mizuki just said. Kyuubi, what do you mean? What do I have to do with that thing? It was a secret you weren't supposed to learn until you were promoted to Genin. But since I'm going to kill you, I can at least tell you the truth. Consider it as my final good deed as a teacher. 8 years ago, the Kyuubi attacked our village. Just like the books told you, he was defeated by the 4th Hokage who died to protect us. What the books don't tell, however, is how the fox was defeated. What? I still don't understand. Why does this concern me, and why you want to kill me? October 10th. Your birthday, right? To defeat the Kyuubi, the 4th Hokage had to seal it in a newborn. Now think about it, and die. It's inside of me. Why me? Is that why I'm hated by everyone? I never asked for this. Naruto was dumbstruck, but he didn't have the time to process the revelation nor receive answers to his questions, as a giant shuriken struck him right in his back. Huh? Mizuki snapped in laughter. Finally, we're free from the demon. He's dead, and no one will care about him. As he was starting to retreat, he felt a cold blade piercing his heart. He turned his face to meet the eyes of a masked ninja, with visible gray hair and a strange red left eye. He couldn't recognize the man at the sound of his voice, but he was clearly an ANBU member. You damn traitor. A death like that is far too peaceful for you, the assassin muttered before pulling the blade out of his body. 2 others, ANBU, joined the scene a few moments after. They were accustomed to death thanks to their training, but this time it was different. They failed to protect the boy they were supposed to guard because they reacted too late, and nothing could change this. Captain, Lord Hokage is on the way with Yumino Irika. We already told him what happened. What should we do? The armed ANBU took several seconds examining the body of Naruto before giving an answer. His injuries are not lethal, but he's shocked due to the pain and probably because of what Mizuki told him. We should bring him to the hospital right now. Right away, Captain. I'll fill Lord Hokage and Irika in about the situation. Thank you, now go. The boy awakened, confused and tired, not recognizing the environment around him. Am I dead? If so, then heaven sucks. What am I doing in a sewer? He was thinking, but noticed the growl coming from what he identified as an enormous cage. Slept well, brat? The voice asked in a cold voice, but for some reason it wasn't threatening at all. Who are you? And where am I? From what this miserable human told you, I think you can easily guess, but we don't have the time for that. So I'll just tell you, I'm what you call the QB, and you're in your mind because you're unconscious. It's a shame it came to that for you to finally meet me, but at least you're not dead. The QB? The nine-tailed fox? So, Mizuki-sensei was telling the truth. Yes. I don't know why, but it seems your village was adamant to keep your Jinchuriki status as a secret, a really stupid decision. So much time wasted. Jinchuriki? What's that? I'm here to answer that, and other questions later. A Jinchuriki is, to put it simply, the container for tailed beasts like me. We are beings of pure chakra, and there are 9 of us, identifiable by the number of tails we have, as the so-called nine-tailed fox. I'm the most powerful of them. So what does that mean? And why is it so important to keep it a secret if you could tell me already? And by the way, why did you wait 8 years to manifest yourself? As talkative as your mother. Well, it means you got an enormous quantity of chakra at your disposal, coming directly from me, giving you an advantage against your enemies. You could also use my powers if you manage to control them, but that's a subject for later. Right now, you possess the chakra quantity beyond every human of your village, great stamina, augmented physical strength, and the ability to heal every injuries faster than anyone. It's how you're still alive. That weapon hurt you badly, but not enough to be a problem. I didn't wait 8 years. Actually, I tried to contact you several times during your childhood. However, since you can't clear your mind yet, and you were always buried in your emotions, I couldn't reach you. I managed to do it now, since your mind is technically at peace when unconscious. I didn't remember everything you said. That's hard to follow, but you talked about my mom. Do you know her? Is she still alive? Did she love me? Also, for a big mean fox, for now you're not so bad. I'd say you're a good guy even. For the first time in too many years, the kid was showing genuine excitement and a genuine smile. Huh, never thought a human would tell me this one day. I knew your mother because she was my previous Jinchuriki. Sadly, she passed away. I can tell you she loved you from the bottom of her heart. You have no idea how much, and she's technically the reason for my change of heart. Let's just say we came to an agreement before her death during her last words. Oh, yeah, I figured at least I know she could have been a great mom if she was still alive. So what is this agreement? And how did she die? Can you tell me what was her name? Simple. I protect you and personally train you to master my powers. Her name was Uzumaki Kushina. You inherited the traits of your father, but your personality is definitely coming from her. I was concerned at first, but I think I can manage with you if I could bear with her. Uzumaki Kushina, huh? What a cool name. I bet she was a real Bodai if I have her looks. And you know my father too? For your own security, I can't give you more information about your father right now. Honestly, you should be able to figure it out yourself when the time comes. Now, I mentioned earlier that I'll personally train you. Do you accept? Can't be worse than the academy. You know already that I suck, right? The main reason you suck is simply because you have too much chakra to control, kid. It's like trying to collect a single drop of water in a raging torrent. Don't worry about this. It should come naturally with time when you'll progress. First of all, you'll have to train your body and chakra control. You may have a better physical condition than any of your peers, but it's still not enough to endure my power, should you try to use it now. Also try to calm yourself. I know you had a hard life, until now, but power is uncontrollable if you're overwhelmed by too much negativity. The first thing Naruto remembered from this mass of informations was the fact he wasn't considered abnormal. For the first time of his life, there wasn't any problem with him, just a misunderstanding. He was talking with someone considering an equal. And he was grateful, extremely grateful. Wow, the first person to tell me I'm not an idiot is a giant demon fox. Kinda neat. Thanks, huh? Do you have a name? Calling you QB feels impolite now. The fox replied with what could be guessed as a grin. Kurama. That's the name I was given. You can call me like that, kid. You better be prepared. I advise you to tell the old geezer Hokage about our conversation, but keep it a secret from others. We'll need his help to try to use my power with you, without raising any suspicions. Now our time is up. You'll soon awaken. I'll recontact you after everything is made clear with the old geezer. Thanks, Kurama. It's a pleasure to meet you. Don't worry, I never give up. You better train me like crazy because I want to be the greatest Hokage who ever lived. At Konoha's hospital, Naruto was feeling dizzy, tired from his internal conversation, and still recovering from his injuries. Opening his eyes demanded a surprising amount of effort. As soon as he woke up, the first thing he saw was the third Hokage and Irika-sensei watching him. I'm an idiot. Of course there's people caring about me. Hiruzen was the first to notice. Naruto? Naruto, are you awake? What happened? The worry on his face could be considered comical if the situation wasn't so dire. Yet Gramps, I was attacked by Mizuki-sensei. He told me about the QB and tried to kill me. Because of it, I have to speak with you. The old man and Irika were both stupefied from what Naruto said. They never expected Mizuki to carry such hatred and to reveal the secret above anything else. Oh God, I'm sorry, Naruto. Really sorry. You should have learned this in due time with your lineage. I should have kept more attention to you. I understand if you can't forgive me. No, it's okay, Gramps. I can live with that. At least it answers so many questions I had before, and I already know about my lineage too. Uzumaki Kushina, right? She was the previous Jinchuriki of the fox. Hiruzen eyes widened beyond recognition. Did Mizuki also told him about this? No, that's impossible. The only people who should know about Naruto's parents are all Jonin grade or above, and what shocked him the most was his knowledge of the Jinchurikis. How do you know it? I can't possibly believe Mizuki told you because this is confidential to everyone below Jonin grade. Might be hard to believe, Gramps, but the fox told me. A concerning fact right after another. If he wasn't the third Hokage, his heart would have already entered cardiac arrest. He tried to maintain a straight face as long as possible. What? The QB told you about the incident. Yeah, I know pretty much everything except for what precisely happened and the identity of my father. He said it was better for my own safety to keep it that way for now, and he also want me to train to control his power, and I have to ask you about it to help us. It's quite a revelation to say the least. Any idea about why he's so cooperative? Apparently my mom made something before her death that triggered change of heart. I don't know what, but he's a pretty cool guy from what I can tell, not the scary demon everyone is afraid of. Hiruzen paused for a second, thinking about any clue that could help him rationalize the situation. Don't tell me he was listening to her last words? Is that why I heard him chuckle at that moment? That could be true. She was the previous Jinchuriki after all, so maybe they had a special bond? Kushina managed to give a sense of humanity to the tailed beast through motherly love? All right, I don't know what happened when you were unconscious, but I'm willing to trust you. Not him, but you, Naruto. I failed you enough already. So what does he want? Well, he told me he wants to train my body and control my emotions before we could start anything about his powers. It would be dangerous for my body to start using them because I'm not strong enough, and it seems I have to strengthen my mind to keep control. Not that I have any idea about what it means, but he should know better than anyone else how it works on his Jinchuriki, right? And he wants you to cover us, so that we don't raise any suspicions. Naruto answered as if all of this was obvious for him, greatly confusing Hiruzen and Irika. It makes sense? I could see why he told you that. When your mother tapped into the QB chakra, she was prone to uncontrollable anger, not able to recognize ally or foe. And from the records we kept, it was also dangerous to her body as it was slowly burning her skin. For your body, I'll let him train you however he likes with supervision, obviously. For your mind, however, I can only think about the Yamanaka clan to help you with that. Ino-chan's clan? Oh yeah, it's true. All of their techniques are based around that. But do you think it won't bother them? It's hard to explain. Already, So how are they supposed to trust the thing that caused so much chaos 8 years ago? Hiruzen was surprised by the cleverness of Naruto. He was almost wondering if all these bad grades weren't another scheme of Mizuki, since he was the one assigned for homework and tests. Fair point, Naruto. But don't worry, you know that my orders can't be discussed. Therefore, I'll make an absolute priority for a Yamanaka member to train you. My first guess would be Yamanaka Inoichi. After all, his wife was close to your mother, and I think both of them will be pleased to meet you. Thanks, Gramps. I'm glad you trust me. Don't worry, I'll be the most awesome Hokage and Jinchuriki you've ever seen. Hiruzen was proud of the excitement Naruto was showing. Even after knowing the truth, you still want to be Hokage. What a heart of gold, my boy. Minato and Kushina would be proud of you. You can be sure of it. You don't have to thank me, Naruto. It's the least I can do to apologize for everything after all. Meet me tomorrow in my office. We'll officially discuss about your training. Irika was still here and listened everything. For him, all of this was a bad dream. He couldn't believe it. The nine-tailed fox who killed his parents was willing to help Naruto. And he was the son of the former Jinchuriki? So it meant he's the son of Minato Namikaze, right? None of it was making sense, but the third Hokage reaction and Naruto's confidence were all the elements he needed to believe it. And despite his anger for the beast, he could never hate Naruto. Now all he had to do was once again being the supportive teacher to the blonde boy who was acting with a newfound maturity. Lord Hokage, I suppose everything that was said here is classified as an S-class secret? Absolutely, Irika. No one must know about this conversation. However, what is it, Lord Hokage? Since Naruto is the first concerned by all of this, I give him full authority about what he can reveal to his comrades, meaning that from this day, Naruto can tell about anyone he's willing to trust about the truth of his condition. Oh, then the only thing I should be concerned about is to keep this secret for myself until Naruto decides to reveal it publicly, right? Exactly. And you, Naruto, did you understand, and do you accept such a burden? I know you already have so many responsibilities on your back, but now I feel like it's not my place anymore to keep this secret. Yeah, don't worry. For now, I'll keep it to myself unless something happens with my classmates. I think the best moment to tell them would be after the graduation exams, because if I start using the fox's powers, they should be prepared to not fear me. A wild smile began to form on Hiruzen's face. A wise decision. I'm proud of you, Naruto, truly. Now return back to your house, and don't forget our appointment tomorrow. We'll make sure you succeed. Hey, Gramps, I'm here. Naruto arrived early in the morning with a determined look. It was nothing like before. The seriousness of his blue eyes could make them mistaken for an ocean. At the right side of the third Hokage stood a tall, masculine figure, arms crossed, his most characteristic traits being a face roughened by the age, with long yellow hair styled in a ponytail and pale blue eyes. Good morning, Naruto. I'd like to introduce you to Yamanaka Inoichi, the current heir of the Yamanaka clan, head of the torture and interrogation force of Konoha, and father of your classmate Yamanaka Ino. I already talked to him about your request, and he seems interested. Naruto shivered at the mention of torture. He tried to hide it, and guessed he failed thanks to the appearing smirk from Inoichi. Nice to meet you, sir. I know it might sound insane, but I promise I'm telling the truth, and I'll answer any questions the best I can. Nice to meet you, Uzumaki Naruto. As you can guess, I already know about your problem. I must admit you piqued my curiosity. I've never seen the mental world of a Jinchuriki, so you could say I'm quite excited about any discovery I can make, and I understand the implications of your training. You'll answer my questions about this later. For now, I only have one of the utmost importance. Both Naruto and Hiruzen addressed a lightly confused look towards Inoichi, given the sudden change of tone he took for the last sentence. Sure, what is it? Asked Naruto. What do you think about my daughter? What? You heard me. I know you two are in the same class, so answer me. What do you think about her? Hiruzen couldn't help but to laugh silently at the absurdity of this question, as Naruto was helplessly confused, not understanding why this subject could be more important than a freaking nine-tailed fox. Please do not laugh, Lord Hokage. I'm bringing a boy to my house, and I don't care that I face the QB. I'll protect my daughter. She'll stay an innocent being until the end. That was too much for the old man. The laugh transformed into a full-blown hysterical laughter he couldn't suppress. After a few seconds, he managed to regain his composure. Don't worry, Inoichi. I can assure you Naruto is completely oblivious to this kind of things. You have my word as I consider him my own grandson. Naruto scratched his head. I don't know what all this is about, but I never really spoke to her. She's glued to that Sasuke bastard like all the other girls in the class. But she seems nice. She's one of the few who didn't hit me yet. And I heard she befriended Sakura before when she was bullied. I believe they hate each other now, though. They're fighting for Sasuke or something. I don't understand why girls like this antipathic moron, honestly. Ruining friendships for a boy who may not even like you in return. Inoichi and Hiruzen seemed amused by Naruto's judgment of Sasuke, but also amazed by his maturity when it concerned friends. They guessed it's because he never had any of his own, so he valued the thought above anything else. Well, you're more down to earth than I thought. You made a good first impression. I'll be glad if you could slap some sense to my daughter about her stupid crush, but I can't take the risk of her developing another one. So for now, I hope she can be friends with you, just like Choji and Shikamaru. Well, that's right. Hiruzen noted. Shikaku told me Shikamaru and Choji both received instructions by their fathers to think by themselves about Naruto, and both of them don't seem to treat him like the rest of the villagers. Yeah, they're cool. We don't hang out that much, but I can consider them friends, I guess. Naruto replied. Does that mean I can tell them about the Kyuubi? I think it could work with them, actually. Hiruzen thought. This decision is yours alone, Naruto. I've already told you. I hope you understand that while they appreciate you, you can't know what their reaction will be if you reveal it to them. Of course, but I'd be surprised if they turn on me. Oh, and why do you think this, Naruto? Inoichi questioned. Shikamaru is really smart, so he'll probably be the first one to know even if I don't tell anything. And knowing him, he'll say it's too troublesome to hate me. Choji is the kindest guy I know. I can't see him hating someone for something they didn't choose. Both Hiruzen and Inoichi smiled heartfully with this answer, once again surprised by how much trust Naruto can give to his comrades despite the poor treatment he received all these years. You're really one of a kind, kid. I'm starting to like you. Come with me. It's time for you to meet your Yamanaka classmate and start your training. I'm excited to see what the Kyuubi prepared for you. From now on, you'll be coming with us every day after school, and you'll return home after dinner. It's simpler for me to monitor you this way. Yes, sir. Thank you for your hospitality. Whatever that means. I'll let the boy in your hands, Inoichi. I'll give you the necessary materials to cover any trace of the Kyuubi chakra leaking from your place. I'm wary of Danzo and what he could do if he learned about it. Understood, Lord Hokage. On the way to the Yamanaka flower shop. So, Naruto, can you tell me the details about what the Nine Tails required you to do? Naruto hummed for a brief moment before giving his answer. He told me I should practice chakra control, strengthening my mind and reinforce my body. Even though my physical condition is better than my classmates thanks to him, my body would crumble if I tried to use his powers directly. Inoichi nodded without saying anything. For my mind, apparently my emotions can lead to disastrous events if they're not in control. Gramps told me it was the same for my mom, so I believe him. Yes, I remember very well. The Jinchurikis are feared by their enemies for their power, but also feared by their comrades because any loss of control result in a relentless carnage without distinction for ally or enemy. Fortunately, Kushina was the most stable thanks to her unconditional love for your father. You knew them? Yes, actually my wife was a close friend of your mother. She was the first to know about her pregnancy and was excited to see how much you would be like your mom. And your father was one of the greatest ninja I've ever came across, strong and fearless. Inoichi chuckled for a second. The only thing that could make him afraid was seeing Kushina angry. After all, she was known for beating her bullies during her childhood. But enough of this. I'd prefer if my wife was the one to tell you stories about your parents. Now tell me, what would you consider your strengths and weaknesses as a ninja? Naruto thought about everything he knew at the academy. And there wasn't much, to be honest. There's a reason why he was called the Dead Last. Right now my strength would be taijutsu, but I've never received proper lessons about it, and I don't have someone to spar with. To be fair, as long as I can remember, I outlasted everyone due to my stamina, so not sure if it counts. Inoichi listened carefully. already planning what he could expect from the kid. For my weaknesses I already know. I can't use Jinjutsu, too hard for me. I suck at ninjutsu. I can't produce a single clone, and my chakra control is terrible. The fox told me it was because I had much more chakra than anyone, so it's harder for me. Makes sense. But rest assured, all of these weaknesses can be covered by proper training. It's not your fault since you never had anyone to guide you. And for your taijutsu, I'd be more than happy to teach you the Yamanaka style, since Ino isn't really the fighter type. Yet for some reason she asked me to show her. I'm lucky, 2 birds with 1 stone. I'll teach you both. Really? That's awesome. It means I'll have a sparring partner too, right? Now I'm excited. Thanks, Inoichi-san. You're welcome, Naruto. Yamanaka Flower Shop. Ino Yamanaka was annoyed. Very annoyed. Her lovely dad had to leave her to meet the Hokage instead of playing and training her as usual on a Saturday. While she understood it was probably important since it never happened until this day, breaking the routine for a spoiled girl was the gravest an parent could do. Especially when that said girl made a bet with her sworn enemy. The first one who could last 5 minutes in a sparring match in taijutsu against Uzumaki Naruto the next Monday would be allowed to sit next to Uchiha Sasuke for the whole day, and she was counting on her lovely dad to train her the whole weekend in order to beat Haruno Sakura, or rather, hold her ground against the goofiest, most annoying and stupid brat she knows, Uzumaki Naruto. He wasn't strong by any means. Heck, he was given the title of dead last. This kid wasn't even able to meet the standards in terms of ninjutsu or jinjutsu, but if there was one thing that even the proud and spoiled girl Ino Yamanaka could admit, is the fact that Uzumaki Naruto could begin a taijutsu session against all of his classmates and still stand hours later, as if it was merely a warm-up. There was no end to his stamina, and while she wished to know how the incompetent brat was able to achieve such a feat, she wasn't concerned in the slightest about her domination, because in the end that's the only thing he could do, throwing hands until exhaustion. And she knew that it was meaningless against any competent shinobi. But this time it was different. If she could fight him without dropping to the ground like a 10 kilograms weight and last 5 minutes, she could finally sit alongside the greatest guy of history, Uchiha Sasuke, the prodigy, the cool, edgy, and handsome boy, always focused and always outmatching anyone in every category, except Uzumaki Naruto in taijutsu and Haruno Sakura in knowledge. But it doesn't matter because nothing beats the awesomeness of Uchiha Sasuke. And her dad who promised to train her wasn't here. So yeah, she was pissed. But she would soon know why her lovely dad couldn't help her yet, and it wasn't pleasant. To tell she was flabbergasted was an understatement. Her widened pale blue eyes coupled with the most gasped mouth of history were proof of this already. But her mental state was even worse. She wondered what she had done in her previous life to deserve such a fate. How come even her most terrorizing nightmare wasn't as shocking as this? And why her mother looked like she saw a long-lost friend. So many questions without any answers, but she'll work hard to obtain them. Let me introduce you to our new friend, Uzumaki Naruto. Lord Hokage personally asked me to watch and refine his development as a ninja. Therefore, he will be joining us during our training sessions every week until his graduation. Due to certain circumstances, we can't adopt him, but I hope you understand that from this day, he'll be treated as part of the family. Do you have any questions? Inoichi explained politely. The tall blonde woman was on the verge of tears simply by looking at this boy. She heard rumors about him coming from the villagers and her own daughter, but she never had the occasion to see him in person. So many memories were resurfacing in an instant. The resemblance was far too uncanny to be a mere coincidence. Words were begging to come out of her throat. She had to confirm it. Uzumaki Naruto? Inoichi, don't tell me. Ino couldn't comprehend why her mother was in such a state. But for now she didn't care. She'll get her answers later. It is exactly who you think it is, Rio. But the kid doesn't know the full extent of it. He only knows the identity of his mother, for safety reasons. Mother? Uzumaki Naruto's mother? He had a mother? Why doesn't he know his father too? Whatever the reason, it's probably stupid. The 8-year-old blonde girl thought, still dumbstruck. On the other side of the spectrum, Yamanaka Rio was overjoyed to meet the living remnant of her friends. Kushina, I'm afraid Minato's genes were far too dominant. Don't worry, he'll be safe here. I'll protect him as my own son. I trust you, Inoichi. I'll gladly welcome him here. I have so much to tell him. But I do have a question. What is it? Why now? Why not sooner? Don't tell me Lord Hokage thought he would be safer alone, or else I'm putting him in retirement by force right now. Inoichi sighed. Of course he knew she would ask about this. He couldn't tell the full truth unless Naruto allowed him to reveal it, and he already confirmed he'd prefer to see how things would go with the Yamanakas before making his final decision. To explain it the best as I can, clan politics reasons. If you wish to know the full details, wait for Naruto to tell you, or you could try to see underneath the surface. Yamanaka Ryo didn't need to see underneath the surface as demanded, because the dots were already connecting in her head as she remembered the events responsible for the death of Minato and Kushina and inspecting the whiskers on the boy's cheeks. The Yamanaka were always known for being extremely perceptive about people due to their special techniques, and as a retired shinobi present during October 10th from 8 years ago, she easily made the connection with the disappearance of the nine-tailed fox and the birth date of Naruto. Noted, I won't bother you. Now, boy, can you introduce yourself? She approached the kid, leaning towards him with a warm smile. Damn, he really was the carbon copy of his father. How would they even hide it to foreign nations? Naruto replied with his usual grin. Nice to meet you, Miss Yamanaka. I'm Uzumaki Naruto, future Hokage. Hey there, Ino. Sorry for stealing your dad. Hope we can be friends. Ryo's smile turned into a gasp. Hokage, huh? What a great aspiration. I'm sure you can do it. Piece of cake if he inherited his parents' genes. She thought. Ino was furious, but tried to keep her composure and spoke with the most serious tone she could muster. Again with that dream of yours? Mom, I know you're always positive, but it's Naruto we're talking about. He's stuck in every category besides taijutsu, and it's only thanks to his absurd stamina. That's why Gramps told me to come here. You'll see I'll catch up to y'all in a blink. Yeah, whatever you say. You better be serious here, not like at the academy, or else I'll kick your ass. She paused for a moment. I don't know if we can be friends, but at least I can try to be good around you since we're stuck together now. It's fine by me. I won't bother you, I promise. I'm taking this very seriously, you know. Ino was slightly impressed to see the sudden change in the prankster's demeanor. Not that she was unhappy about it. She was starting to see him in a new light, but she was still wary. At least he was more entertaining than Shikamaru, who was too lazy to try, or Choji, who was too kind to hit a girl. I'll confirm it by seeing it. If you're so serious about it, then let's test it right away. Fight me now. Huh? What? Because of you, I missed my usual training session with Dad. So you better repay me, and you'll do it by fighting me until I can beat you. Naruto was grinning like a maniac. I accept the challenge. I won't lose to you. You can be sure of it. Inoichi coughed and stood right in front of them. I appreciate your enthusiasm, kids, but let's do it elsewhere. You won't be fighting in the house. He turned his face towards Ryo. You heard them. I'm taking them for the whole day. That way I'll judge their abilities. We'll be back for dinner. Yamanaka, training ground. Both kids were staring at each other, already in position to fight, determination burning through their body language. Okay, we'll do the usual spar with a time limit of 3 minutes. I want to see you both try your hardest. Wait for my signal to start. Inoichi waited a few seconds to distance himself from the area. Fight! Naruto was the first to take the offer. He didn't waste a second to reach Ino and already began his assault. The girl could only defend herself against the barrage of punches and kicks coming from everywhere. So that's how he fight? He was right, there is no style, pretty much like an enraged beast. Ironic how fitting it is for him. The blonde Jonin was already judging him in his head. Still annoying as hell. Ino grabbed Naruto's leg and sent him fly, but he was already recovering. By putting a little bit of effort in his leg muscles, he gapped the distance to confront her again and used the momentum to throw his whole body against her, quickly grabbing her waist and make her fall to the ground. Still too soon to defeat me. You give up? Naruto stared at her lying to the ground, with him still maintaining his weight on her belly to make sure she couldn't stand up. He had to admit, he never saw her this close, and she was pretty. Not prettier than Sakura, but she didn't need to know. Being on the ground doesn't mean I can't do anything, idiot. With a visible grin, She quickly threw a bit of dirt in his face, and it worked. The blonde kid was disoriented, the perfect opportunity to give him a good old forehead hit with all the strength she could gather. That was enough to make him retreat. Not bad, but that was cheating here. You can't cheat in a fight, idiot. They were ready to rush towards each other, but Inoichi stopped them right away by standing in the middle. All right, that's enough. The 3 minutes are over. Now time for the evaluation. Ino, you're still too much on the defensive. It might work against your classmates, but in a real situation, you can't simply protect yourself and wait for an opening. Naruto, you're too aggressive. You don't even pay attention to your blind spots and don't bother to dodge or block the blows. I know you're confident about your physical condition. However, in a real fight, the meat shield strategy is a death penalty. Both kids were listening carefully, noting each other's weaknesses to use them the next time. Okay, Dad. Understood, Inoichi-san. The blonde adult nodded. Well, I expected the worst, but you both surprised me. You only lack a proper style, and from what I can see, if you were in a team, you could cover your weaknesses together with teamwork. Now it's time for the real deal. Naruto, I want you to show me one of your clones. All right, here goes nothing. Inoichi examined every single move Naruto made to unleash the jutsu. Bunshin. A burst of chakra appeared from the boy, and smoke manifested only to reveal a barely functional clone. How come you still didn't master that? Ino asked. It's one of the first jutsu we learn, and it doesn't even require too much chakra. She informed, perplexed. I know, but I never learned how to control my reserves. No one taught me. What? What do you mean? We learned that during our second year at the academy. Who was your teacher back then? It was Mizuki Sanzo. Oh, it explains everything. Naruto replied, feeling intelligent for once. What's the problem? The girl turned her head towards him with incomprehension. Inoichi replied instead of Naruto. We recently learned that Mizuki was a traitor and he wasn't fond of Naruto. He probably wanted him to fail, so he never took time to teach him properly. Oh, yeah, that could explain many things, I guess. Wait, does that mean that Naruto isn't an idiot? Mizuki-sensei was also the one giving him homework. Did someone else check his grades? All right, never thought of that. I'll ask Irika-sensei to verify. I may be a genius. Right. By your answer, I could tell your idiocy is natural. Huh. Inoichi chuckled. He never thought his daughter would make a harmless joke towards Naruto with a gentle tone, instead of being the usual spoiled girl. Well, that solved everything. It's too bad, Naruto, but you'll have to catch up years of basic skills before trying anything else. I hope it doesn't discourage you. Nah, it means I finally have the chance of being a normal shinobi, and I have a friend to help me. I'm good. Ino let an audible gasp come from her mouth. She wasn't one of Naruto's bullies, but she wasn't innocent either. She could have helped him many times but decided otherwise, fearing it would degrade her popularity and losing her chance with Sasuke. A sentiment of regret manifested inside the young girl. You consider me your friend already? Despite everything that happened at the academy? Yeah? You were not mean to me, and now you even joked with me. You don't seem to be a bad girl in my eyes. Ino took several seconds to process his words. He wasn't upset in the slightest despite all the bad treatment he received. Sure, he was a prankster and never learned seriously, but now she could understand why. The adults failed him, so he wasn't trying, and she knew how the villagers saw him, a nuisance. He had all the reasons to leave the village, and yet he was still cheerful. Either it was the epitome of stupidity, or he had a heart of gold. Okay, but let me apologize, otherwise I won't be able to face myself in a mirror. I'm sorry for not doing anything, Naruto. I could have helped you far earlier just like I did with Sakura. I hope I can atone from this mistake by being your friend from now on. I'll probably be judged at the academy, but I don't care. If my dad accepted to teach you, then you can't be a bad guy. Ino bowed to the boy, and he didn't know how to react. Inoichi was proud like never before. Her daughter was so young, yet already showed maturity. She recognized her faults, was ready to correct them, and would stand for her comrades when necessary. He couldn't ask better for the future heiress of the clan. Minato, Kushina, Naruto is in good hands. He thought. Naruto failed to contain the blush already appearing on his cheeks, so he turned his face to avoid her gaze. Thanks, Ino. It means a lot to me, you know. My first real friend. Dusk was coming soon, the signal to go home. Okay, you two. Let's return home for dinner now. We have many things to talk about. At the Hokage's office. Due to everything that happened these last days, every Jonin qualified to be the leader of a Genin team from Naruto's generation by the time of their graduation was summoned in the third Hokage's office to inform them of a huge change of situation. This also included Hatake Kakashi, captain of the ANBU, who was close enough to Naruto's parents to know the predicament, as he'll probably be the boys' Jonin assigned teacher for his team when he'll finally graduate into a Genin of Konoha. Greetings, everyone. First of all, I want to inform you that everything we will discuss here is classified as an S-class secret and won't be revealed at any cost. I don't want another leak fiasco. The atmosphere was tense. Hiruzen looked like he was ready to announce the fourth great shinobi war. Every person in the room could feel the uneasiness radiating from every corner. All of them were nervous, but someone had to speak. The only one brave enough to confront the old man was none other than his son, Sarutobi Asuma. We understand your anointment, Lord Hokage, but aren't you too tense? We're not under conflict, so unless we're in a risk of a rising war, I don't think we miss something these days that could be as urgent as the informations of our Jinchuriki. It's good to have your optimism here, Asuma. However, it is important, because what I'm going to tell you is directly linked to Uzumaki Naruto and his tailed beast. These words were enough to inflict a sudden change of color to everyone in the room, their skin turning pale. Asuma spoke for the rest of the group, asking the question they all had in their heads at this moment. What happened? Don't tell me the seal is failing. Hiruzen sighed and took a breath from his wine cask before giving an answer. Fortunately, no. But Naruto informed me the fox talked to him. He revealed to him the identity of his mother alongside the fact she was his previous Jinchuriki, and is currently trying to reinforce the young boy so that he could use his chakra. Kakashi frowned, extremely concerned for Naruto's well-being. Seems fishy. Are we sure it's not a trap to gain Naruto's trust to be released without resistance? Hiruzen thought of the possibility, and that's the reason why he made his choice in the first place. That's why I told Yamanaka and Noichi everything and let him meet the kid. I asked him to enter his mind and give me a report when he's done. For now, Naruto will be trained by him while attending the teachings of the academy. We unfortunately discovered that Mizuki was lying about his grades and never advised him about how to truly improve. So I hope the 4 years he'll have before the graduation exam will be enough to correct our mistakes. Inoichi, huh? If it's him, then there shouldn't be a problem. However, can I still demand that everyone here will hear of his report? The ENBU captain asked. Naturally, Kakashi. I summoned you all here to let you know that in the best-case scenario, Uzumaki Naruto will be a full-fledged Jinchuriki cooperating with his tailed beast by the time he'll be a genin. He also told me that he's thinking of revealing his status to any classmate graduating with him. All the Jonin looked at each other with a gaze of concern. Yuhi Kurinai advanced to speak. Isn't it dangerous? I don't know how they all would react, knowing they were so close to the thing responsible for one of the biggest scars of the village. Hiruzen removed his hat and took the time to stand up and look at the window, facing the previous Hokage faces carved in the stone. They would eventually find out during their lifetime anyway, and the sooner the better. I don't want them to see Naruto as a potential threat, but as a powerful comrade they can rely on. I believe the fourth Hokage thought the same when he decided to seal the demon inside his own son. Asuma replied, after smoking the last pieces of a cigarette. Well, it's your decision after all. We can't really do anything beside disapproving. If the brat is like his father, he'll be careful. We just have to hope his mother didn't rub off too much on him. All of them chuckled. Truly, Asuma knew how to be light in the atmosphere. Personality-wise, he's definitely Kushina, but when he's serious, he can be clever just like Minato. We'll have to wait for the results. Hiruzen said. He sat again on his seat. Well then, if no one got anything else to say, you're all dismissed. I'll convoke you again when Inoichi's report will be there. They all nodded and leave the place. Yamanaka Flower Shop. The 3 combatants returned from their training. The 2 kids were tired and dirty, with parts of their clothes damaged from their taijutsu session. While Ino obviously had spare clothes, Naruto couldn't tell the same. He didn't even thought of the need of it for today, so he didn't bother to pass by his apartment. Fortunately, Yamanaka Ryo took advantage of his absence to buy some for him, a black t-shirt adorned with an orange spiral and white pants. He was touched by the gesture. For the first time, he looked at someone with a sad smile and let his mask crack. "Thank you, madam. I'm really grateful. No one ever did this for me." "No worries, sweetie. What kind of adult would let a kid spar without multiple clothes? And you can call me Rio." "Too many, apparently." "Thank you once again, Miss Rio." Rio harbored a smile, but her husband and daughter knew it was the one she let appeared when she was mad. And damn she was. She would make her personal mission to make every citizen of Konoha beg for forgiveness towards the orphan. "It's okay, Naruto. Now, go take a shower. Dinner will be served right after you're both done." It took a few minutes before both kids were clean, Ino being the longest to finish. Naruto couldn't comprehend why, so he asked Rio, and the only answer he got was, "It's normal for girls." And it didn't help. From his point of view, they weren't really different at this age. Honestly, girls were a mystery. It only clicked when Ino descended the stairs in her pajamas. She smelled good, too good for his own sake, and her post-shower dizziness added to the cuteness he was witnessing. He was too young and innocent to harbor any adult thought yet, but even a child could appreciate the beauty of a girl of his age. "What are you looking at?" "And nothing. I just think you look great." Ino's left eyebrow was visibly higher than normal. "Well, obviously, duh. I'm the prettiest girl of our class." "Maybe. I never noticed. Want me to slap you? I can still fight if you want." "No thanks. I'm done for the day." "Good. Let's eat. I'm hungry like never before because of all the ruckus you caused." Rio and Inoichi grinned by hearing the exchange of the children. The future would be good if they could watch such a glorious entertainment every day. Naruto was amazed from the quantity of food on the table. And not just any kind of food. It was ramen, his favorite. He wondered how Ino's mom could know. Probably a coincidence. It didn't stop him to think he was in heaven, though. "So, how is it, Naruto? Do you like it?" "Yeah, Miss Rio. That's wonderful. I love ramen, and yours is as great as Ichiraku's. It's a gift from heaven." "Wow, I never expected to receive such praise for my cooking. My husband and daughter could take a note or two from you," she responded while glaring mischievously towards her relatives. "Don't tell her that, Naruto. We'll never hear the end of it because of you now." Ino replied with embarrassment. For a second, the daughter thought her mom's head tripled size. Or maybe it was because she was just 2 centimeters in front of her face. "Well, at least someone here isn't taking my cooking skills for granted." "Hey, you can't blame me for enjoying a meal. This ramen recipe is godly. I might even ask your mom to give it to Ichiraku. She deserves it." Naruto replied, completely innocent. "My. Now my ego is flattered beyond repair." Inoichi was enjoying the situation while silently finishing his bowl. It's true that he always loved his wife's cooking, but it's been long since the family praised it. He could thank Naruto for that now. "Dad, you still haven't said a word. Please save me." Inoichi's grin was nearly reaching his eyes. "Don't need to, you're safe, dear. But next time, learn from Naruto, and consider it your first lesson about how to get your mother's affection." Rio turned her face toward her husband. "Don't think you can escape Inoichi. From now on, I expect as much praise from you two as Naruto did." Noted from a distance, Naruto was lost in his thoughts, focused on the scenery, with a single tear escaping the left eye. Is this what being a family feels like? It's awesome, you know. The Yamanakas all turned their face towards the boy in silence, eyes widened and a regretful visage, the most touched by his question being, "Ino." She was only starting to understand his pain, why he was always acting like a douche. Deep beneath an unwavering cheerfulness was buried an abyss of loneliness that could never be closed, and she knew why. He desperately needed attention. Inoichi broke the silence. "Yes, Naruto, but I already told you this morning, right? From this day, you are considered a part of us. While we may not be your real parents, don't you dare think for any second you're not welcomed in our house. The strengthening of your mind begin today with this action. You'll never be alone again." The 8-year-old Naruto could only respond with a smile and tears of joy. "All my life, I've wondered, what did I do to suffer from so much loneliness and hatred? Why don't I deserve a loving family to comfort or scold me? I'm so happy right now. I can't even express it properly. I'm sorry. That was enough for Rio. Her maternal instinct kicked in as she embraced him with a hug. Shush, sweetie. Life was hard for you, right? You don't have to say anything. You don't have to fear anything. You don't have to suffer anymore. As long as I live, no one will hurt you. You can come to me or Inoichi for every doubt you have. That's why parents exist in the first place. That's right, Naruto. I may not be as good with words as my wife, but my opinion is the same. If you have any trouble, feel free to come and talk to me. I know how hard it could be for boys to confess their feelings in this violent world. Us Yamanaka are particularly reactive and effective to deal with emotions. That was the origin of our clan during the first Great Shinobi War. We were here to help with psychological trauma. Thank you all. Thank you for giving me the best day of my life. Inoichi and Rio smiled. No problem, Naruto. Now I think it's time for me to bring you back to your apartment. Do you think you're okay, or do you prefer to stay here? We have a spare room for you. The father asked. No, I'm fine, don't worry. I'll meet you again tomorrow in the morning, right? That's right. Come early. You're expected to eat breakfast with us. And I can assure you that you don't want to miss it. Inoichi replied. Now I'm kind of excited, you know. I may not be able to sleep. But the kid was able to sleep. He slept better than any night, without any nightmare to disturb him. Yamanaka Flower Shop. Contrary to her fellow blonde, Ino had a hard time this night. She reflected every single preconceived idea she had about this boy, this poor orphan who discovered the joy of a family only yesterday. How could she face herself without any guilt? Thanks to their previous interaction during their first training, she already guessed he wasn't okay. But she never expected him to wear a facade during all this time. It was even more painful as she saw the mask break in its full glory, and she was at the front row to watch it. She was spoiled and ignorant. It wasn't an excuse. She knew it. Everything this kid ever wanted, she had it. She took it for granted. She could do better. She must do better. No more turning a blind eye from the suffering of the misjudged prankster. No one deserved such a life, and she'll make sure to treat him with the respect he earned. No, the respect anyone deserved from the moment they were born. Today was the second time they would be assisting each other to improve themselves. She had to give her best to help him, not because of pity, but because he recognized her as a friend, his first one. She wore her usual purple shirt, coupled with a modest white skirt, loose enough to not disturb the movements of her legs during a fight, and since she decided to be serious, she styled her hair as a modest bun with a little bang on the right side, covering her forehead like her mother. They weren't long enough yet to make a ponytail, but for now, it would be enough, and she liked the difference it made. Enough for the preparations. She heard Naruto coming. It was the signal to go down the stairs and greet him for breakfast. Honestly, he didn't look too bad with the clothes her mom bought him. It was nice to see him without an atrocious amount of orange for once. He still maintained his goofy face, but she didn't mind now. She saw who he really was and knew that this morning smile was genuine, and he was already eating like he missed a week worth of food. Yo, Ino, still dressed up to the nines as far as I can see, huh? Of course, girls must always display their best look. Not that you would understand. Yup, I'll never comprehend why y'all are so bothered by your physical appearance. From my point of view, all girls are pretty. And that's exactly why we do that, idiot. You wouldn't find every one of us pretty if we weren't concerned about our looks. Now that you say it, yeah, it's kind of true. Glad to make you see the light. You feel a little less stupid now, right? Totally. Maybe I'll truly be a genius if I hang with you long enough. Don't you think? As long as you don't become a lazy bum like Shikamaru, it should be okay. But don't expect for a miracle. No one can go from stupid to genius in a few years. The two didn't even pay attention to the adults watching them becoming much friendlier than expected in a matter of days. They were too far down the rabbit hole of joking to notice. Yamanaka Rio grinned maliciously, a future already planned for her daughter in her head. How cute to see you close enough to banter like best friends already. Well, as I guessed, Ino isn't a meanie. Her only cons are her bossy side at the academy and her terrible crush for the Sasuke moron. Overall, she's cool. Ino wanted to rip his skull open to dare disrespect Uchiha Sasuke right before her eyes. But the idea of being already able to joke with Naruto, as if they knew each other since birth, was overwhelming her mind. The guy was genuinely friendly, If it wasn't for his stupid behavior and lack of concentration, he would be one of the class favorites and could give Sasuke a run for his money in terms of popularity. Maybe she could exploit that to make forehead and many groupies naturally distance themselves from the boy of her dreams. A manly voice echoed in the living room. Given the state of your plates, I assume you're both finished and ready to go. Yeah, Noichi-san, I'm fired up today. Good. You'll need this determination. What about you, Ino? I'm ready too. What will we practice? We'll focus on mental reinforcement. If you're good enough, I may start teaching you our clan's jutsus. Great. But what about Naruto? He's not from our family, so you can't really show him that, right? No. But Lord Hokage gave me some instructions for him. His mind is special to say the least. Only an experimented Yamanaka can travel there. Now that was weird. The only people who could mess with the Yamanaka mind-reading techniques were strong shinobis dangerous enough to cause a real problem for the village. Typically, the kind of guys her father had to deal with in his job. Why would an 8-year-old harmless kid needed an expert simply to enter his mind? Sure, he was traumatized, but it's not like he had any dangerous mind protection who could mess with anyone trying to read it, right? Then the blonde girl reminded the weird discussion her parents had when her father brought Naruto for the first time in their house. Something along the lines of hiding the identity of his father for safety reasons, and couldn't be adopted because of clan politics, and needing to read between the lines. Many questions to rise curiosity in her head, and as the proud next Yamanaka heiress, she'll find the answers in no time, or that what she thought. Anyways, we're leaving now, and we'll return for dinner just like yesterday. Then I'll accompany Naruto to his home. Am I clear? Sure. Her father changing the subject was another trigger to rise suspicions. Whatever secret he was hiding, he'll reveal it to her precious daughter. Yamanaka training ground. Okay, kids, you know what they say, a healthy mind and a healthy body. While many knows why it's important to keep your body in shape, often we forgot our spirit should also be cleared of any imperfection. And why? Naruto asked. Think about it. The mind directs our actions, every move we make, every jutsu we use, every strategy we plan, all of it is controlled by your brain, and you never think of it. So now what happens if you're distracted because your mind is disturbed? You'll probably be full of openings in a close quarters fight. You could mess up the hand signs for your jutsu, or even not using the one most needed for the situation, and your meticulous strategy could fall into the water because you missed a crucial detail because you weren't paying attention. Oh, I understand now. A strong mind automatically make you a better shinobi. Correct. And if you're in a perfect control, you can even be immune to some jinjutsus. Now we're talking. That's super cool. I know, right? Inoichi responded with a grin. And how do you plan to reinforce our mind, Dad? Pretty simple. With mental exercises developed by our clan. If you succeed them, then you too won't even be afraid of a kunai approaching your throat. Okay, I join Naruto on that fact. A strong mind is cool. Happy to hear that from my daughter. Let's begin then. I'll start by casting the jutsu on Ino first. Then I'll proceed with Naruto. If you have any trouble, you can break it by hurting yourselves in whatever way possible in your mental world. Noted. Both of them answered completely serious. And now, begin. Inoichi lied when he said both of them would do exercises, or rather, he didn't told the full truth. Naruto would exercise too, but only after the Yamanaka heir cleared every suspicion about the beast imprisoned inside him. So that's your inner world? Pretty fucked up if you want my opinion. How did you even manage to find a nine-tailed fox in this labyrinth? I don't know. I woke up in front of his cage, to be honest. He told me he would contact me again, but I never heard his voice since then. Suddenly, both blonde males felt a burning fire running in their body as they could see the environment change around them. This strange phenomena continued for 10 seconds until no more burning sensation and no sound. They were standing in front of a giant cage with scarlet eyes glaring at them, piercing their body. So they brought a mind reader. Clever. Inoichi tried his best to maintain his composure before the deep voice. He had questions and a report to write. Are you, QB, correct? What brings you there, Brat? I suppose you have many things to ask. Brat? Did he seriously call me Brat? If he wasn't facing a world-ending threat, Inoichi would have already unleashed a torture jutsu to regain his dignity. But right now he had to admit he was sweating. Any misunderstanding from his words could signify his death. He had to be cautious. First of all, how can we know you aren't tricking Naruto? We heard about your request, and while I'll be more than happy to help the boy, your past make it hard to trust you. No offense. No need to be so fearful, brat. If I was my old self, you would already be dead the moment you arrived here. Let's say I had time to review my actions during my existence, and the kid will need my strength later in his life. What do you mean? I had many years to contemplate how my jailers were treated in your history, and it wasn't great. How do you expect your trump card to trust you and not turn against you if you're unable to care about them as living beings and not living weapons? You are all extremely lucky the kid never hated this village enough to allow my power to leak uncontrollably. Before Inoichi could respond to the scolding of the demonic fox, he was interrupted by another rambling. Anyway, I also had many years to learn that not everyone treated my jailers like they were some kind of pest to eliminate. I must admit it was pleasant to see Uzumaki Mito and Uzumaki Kushina acting like stupid children when near their husbands despite the power they held. They weren't perfect hosts, but thanks to their absolute loyalty towards their men, they could maintain a certain amount of control, but I was still too enraged to cooperate back then. And why the sudden change of heart? Why do you want to help Naruto now? Because we're alike in some aspects. He lost his parents and spent his life chased by people who wanted him dead by any means necessary. I walked this path already, and I refuse to let him become the monster you all think he is. Kushina gave her life and resisted me so that this kid would live. She sacrificed her happiness to give him chance. In a twisted way, I'm the closest thing he could call a brethren. It's indeed twisted, but true. He's technically been with Naruto since his birth. Not that he could have noticed. He's probably the one who knows best how his life started and how it will finish. Inoichi thought, utterly defeated by the realization. How do you intend to help Naruto? I must be absolutely sure that you'll cause no harm to him or his comrades. Understandable. But given my current state, the only one who could harm the kid or his friends is actually himself. What? I heard you talk about the necessity of a strong mind. You were spot on, Brad. My chakra influences the emotions to an absurd degree. A simple anger can turn into a bloodbath when used incorrectly, and I regret to inform you that I have no control over this. My old self would have profited from his anger to take control of his body when he's too far down to be reasoned with. But now I simply act as a guardian. I'll teach him how to use my chakra, but most of the work will be done by you. He needs a body able to withstand the sheer pressure it will inflict, and he needs a mind calm enough to not succumb to any negative emotion. Seems fair. Did you try anything yet? And can you tell me what would happen to Naruto if he wasn't able to control your powers? No. I'm aware of the fact there isn't many people who knows about my presence in his entourage, and the ones who knows are extremely wary of him. I'm waiting for an official approval. To be fair, the kid can technically already use a portion of my chakra by asking me, but it's a mere fraction of what he can achieve. If he can't resist the side effects or keep his emotions in check, at best he'll suffer from slight burns, at worst he'll suffer from major burns and will kill anyone in the area. We can at least trust you on this matter. Fine. You gave me all the answers I needed. I'll make sure to report this to Lord Hokage. I suppose I don't need to tell you that I'll be the one supervising the boy. Obviously, I don't really care about who you bring to monitor the kid as long as it's someone competent. After these words from the fox marking the end of the discussion, both Naruto and Inoichi were forcefully expulsed from the mental world, returning to reality. What happened, Inoichi-san? We were forcefully removed from your mind. I guess he doesn't like company for too long. So, what do we do now? You can finally begin the same exercises as my daughter. From what I can tell looking at her peaceful face, she's doing fine. After we finish our session, I'll be reporting my discussion with the nine-tailed fox to Lord Hokage. Okay, well then let's get to work. The two kids spent the entire weekend sparring and repeating the mental exercises until exhaustion, much to Inoichi's enjoyment. Happy to see her daughter taking it seriously, he was grateful to Naruto's unlimited reserve of slander. One part of him thought he would shut the prankster's mouth once and for all. However, the other part saw how hard Ino was trying to retaliate and put an end to her misery. So maybe it wasn't so bad after all if it served a greater purpose. At Naruto's apartment, a loud knock threatened the door. He was already aware the girl respected the rules too much to not come to the academy earlier than expected, yet he never thought it would be that soon. Hey, Ino, what's up? What's up? I'm here since 10 minutes already. I told you I'll pick you up early in the morning. I know, give me a break. I'm ready. You can't expect me to go from last arrived to be there 1 hour in advance in a single day. True, but you better accommodate to the change real quick, or else I'll break your window to wake you up. It was the first time ever Ino walked side by side him. Mere minutes were enough to notice all the hate and fear he received from every corner they passed by. It was suffocating. She didn't think it'd be this bad, and couldn't understand why. Sure, his pranks were annoying, but not harmful. The stares he was subject to weren't ones you should give to a problematic child. They were the ones you should give to some kind of S-class criminal, one able to murder his whole clan, for instance. Yet she quickly realized Naruto paid no attention to them. Maybe he was accustomed. If that was the case, then her feeling of guilt would grow stronger. Therefore, she repressed the thought and continued her path while doing the same. At the academy, to say their classmates and teacher were shocked would be an understatement. Not only the dead last was here before everyone else, and to top it all off, he was paying attention to Irika-sensei's teachings without fleeing or sleeping like usual. Okay, I don't know what happened after the reunion at the hospital, but I won't interrupt anything. Maybe gods exist after all. In this case, please bless Naruto. He suffered enough already. Was the only thing Irika could think about during the entirety of the morning lesson. After witnessing such a thing, he needed a pause, so he decided to interrupt the teachings earlier than usual. Dude, what the heck? Did someone brainwash you? The young Kiba couldn't believe his eyes and was fearing for a little bit of competition if Naruto started to take class for real. Huh, no, but in the near future maybe. He replied. This only added to his peers' confusion. Whatever you did, you better not tell my mom, because she would absolutely try it on me to make my idleness disappear. Could be troublesome. The Nara boy responded with an annoyed tone. Don't worry, Shikamaru. Not even a miracle can cure that. Choji chuckled. This shouldn't be something to be proud of, you two. The girl firmly spoke, her bossy side leaking from her body. We know Ino, but I'm telling the truth. Shikamaru's laziness is directly in his clan's genes, that's for sure. Shikamaru raised his eyebrows. By the way, I saw you glaring at Naruto several times. Care to explain? Huh. Well, I was surprised, just like everyone else, obviously. Something tells me there's more than that, but it's too troublesome to find out. No worries. Given our clan's relations, you'll know soon enough. The Akimichi and Nara glanced at each other with a questioning look, but didn't dig further. On the other side of the room, the Avenger in the making was also confused by the drastic change of the dead last, but as always never cared enough to properly ask. The pink-haired girl, however, had a totally different reaction. It's surprising, but it's not like he can catch up after years of tomfoolery. Hey, that's not really nice, Sakura. The blonde replied. Yeah, let him be forehead. I think he can surprise you. Oh, took an interest, Ino Pig? Don't worry, I won't fight you over him. As if. Our bet is still active, and we'll settle that this afternoon. More confused stares as why the Yamanaka heiress rushed Sakura not to fight over the playboy as usual, but to defend the unpopular one. Irika returned in the class after the lunch break. Everyone knew what would come after. We'll start the combat exercises in 5 minutes. I'll wait for you to join me outside. The combat exercises consisted in 3 particular subjects: the taijutsu practice, chakra control exercise, and basic ninjutsu applications. It was enough to spend the whole day while doing something meaningful. And even if Naruto wasn't the best at it, it was his preferred part of the academy, because for him all the book reading was useless for a shinobi in battle. Irika brought them outside. In the fighting hour, they were all analyzing the movable chalkboard standing at his left side with a ton of writing of it. Here's your matchups for the taijutsu sparring. When I'll announce your names, please take position. The time limit is 10 minutes. Your goal is to force your opponent to give up, or else it's a draw. Guess it's my lucky day. Time for Revenge Naruto. And I'll even get a comedy gold reaction from Forehead. Ino thought while giggling. Sakura approached the Yamanaka for a taunt. A malicious smile painted all over her visage. There's no way you'll last long enough, Ino Pig. You'll see, she replied, harboring a proud grin. They were the last match, so for now, they had to wait. Inazuka Kiba did surprisingly bad, with the excuse of not being warmed up and having to deal with the Uchiha prodigy. Choji and Shikamaru ended in a stalemate, one too lazy to actually fight, and the other not putting enough strength to be a threat. Hyuga Hinata managed to vanquish Aburame Shino easily due to her evident advantage in close quarters. Sakura had to fight the winner of the first match. Needless to say, it was hard to be serious when facing her crush, and Sasuke felt angry that she wasn't taking him seriously at first. She managed to last 4 minutes before giving up. To her credit, she herself wasn't expecting to do more than 30 seconds. It was finally their turn. Both were properly fired up, a newfound rivalry appearing in the air. I expect better than yesterday, Ino. You'll pay for what you've done. That's a promise. Both were grinning like psychopaths, multiple simulations of their fight created in their mind. Yamanaka Ino and Uzumaki Naruto. Begin. No one moved an inch, waiting for the other to take the first opportunity. They were carefully staring every centimeter of their members, trying to deduce a fractional trace of aggression from the body language. Irika was flabbergasted. He wasn't expecting that at all. No, seriously, what happened? Who replaced Naruto? Normally, he'll already be rushing like a madman without a care for his surroundings. At last, one made the first move. Obviously, it was the resourceful boy. Launching an uppercut, the girl wasn't fazed at all. She quickly placed both hands beneath her chin, yet the blow never came. A bait. Now she had to deal with a leg reaching her torso from the left. No problem. Only need to jump and retaliate with a front kick. Naruto blocked it with both hands and grabbed the leg of the unfortunate girl. That way he could quickly put her into submission by forcing her into the ground. However, she read his intention and placed her hands on the floor to maintain balance. The boy was confronted with a kick coming from her free leg, with enough strength to push him back. Nice one, girlie. Ever thought of changing tactics? No need if it works, you know. Don't cry when you'll ultimately lose then. The two blondes rushed at each other, continuously exchanging strikes. Naruto was the better attacker, but Ino proved he was facing a wall. Not even the Sasuke moron could counter him this well. She admitted in her thoughts that having to spar against the brat for 2 days with the same plan over and over clearly played in her favor. Time's up. It's a draw. What? 10 minutes already? Naruto exclaimed with a clear goal to show his discontent. Well, time flies when you're having fun. Ino replied with a blink. Both of you showed great improvement. I can't believe someone managed to face you this long without fainting Naruto. I'm impressed too. Good work, girlie. Told you to change your strategy. You were good too. I can still feel these punches. You hit like a truck, little bastard. The rest of their peers took a moment to process what they just witnessed. Did Uzumaki Naruto just thought of a plan before acting instead of rushing like a beast? How did Yamanaka Ino manage to hold her ground that long against the unwavering brute? Hey, forehead. Looks like I won your bet. No regrets, right? She taunted the pink-haired girl while letting her tongue coming out her mouth. How did you? Irika expressed a loud cough to regain his authority. Now we'll proceed with the chakra control exercises. Sakura couldn't believe it. Maybe there was 1 in a billion chances that her rival could win her bet. It was a possibility, and she was prepared for it. What wasn't foreseen, on the other hand, was her friendliness towards Naruto. She reminded herself that Ino did the same when she was bullied, but she never once helped Naruto despite the constant mockery that he was undergoing. Why now? What triggered this surge of sympathy? And why was she feeling so regretful at the view of their apparent friendship? Even Shikamaru was furiously asking for answers in his head. Unable to hold back any longer, he approached the girl with a whisper. Okay, now I'm interested. Tell me everything. Long story short, Lord Hokage ordered my father to train Naruto, so we've been practicing together since last Saturday. Got a clue about why he asked your family, and not anyone else? Apparently my mom and dad were close to Naruto's parents. I don't know anything else. Still sounds fishy. If they were this close, then why they never adopted him in the first place? If I remember correctly, Naruto is an orphan since his birth. No idea. I also have many questions, but nobody wants to give me a clear answer. Great. Another problem to solve. What a drag. You don't say. Can't say I'm not enjoying it, though. He's definitely more capable than what we thought. I can see that thanks to your fight. Their conversation was interrupted by Irika once again emitting a loud cough. He definitely needed to work on his authority. Chakra control now. I don't need to remind you what to do, right? Just make the leaf float a few centimeters above your forehead. The longer you maintain it, the greater your grades are. This exercise was repetitive. Everyone knew how to do it, and they all agreed it was boring. But it was necessary. For some reason, it seems the practice could facilitate their future improvement by years if perfected. All of them could already make it float and maintain it to some degree, the best student being Haruno Sakura, who could do it for 20 minutes at her maximum. Naruto simply sucked. There was no other word to describe his performance. He always passed by playing with the rules. His own leaf was floating while doing up and down movements repeatedly, and it was technically floating above his forehead, so no problem, right? But with his new confidence, he was determined to do it correctly. If everyone could do it, then he could too. Giant chakra battery in his belly or not. Hey, Ino, do you have some kind of advice for that? Sure. Show me how you do it first. Naruto executed, and the problem was evident to the girl. She hummed while reviewing his poor display of control. From what I can see, he could do better. First of all, he puts way too much chakra, if it's like his method for clones then. Reduce the amount of chakra. You don't need that much, and find a balance. Think of your chakra as a water current you need to freeze to make the leaf stay in place. If my theory is correct, then yours is constantly fluctuating. That's why the leaf is doing weird up and down movements. You make it sound super easy, you know? I still have trouble to lower my chakra. It seems I've got much more than the average guy, but I think I understand what you said about chakra being a water current. Naruto retried with the instructions in his head. The leaf still made a rocket-like takeoff due to the quantity of chakra used, but it was moving much slower and less hazardous. The girl was honestly impressed. Maybe he was really some kind of misunderstood genius after all. Wow, never thought you would do that good in a first try. Congratulations, I suppose. Thanks to your explanations, girlie. I think I'll ask you every time now if you can make everything sound so easy. He answered with a large grin. Ino smiled at him. She was genuinely happy, and she helped someone like she loved to do. Plus, he was kind of cute with that face. No, what was she thinking? She quickly turned her face to cover her slightly pink cheeks. Thanks, no problem. We'll practically be around each other every day after all. The boy is dangerous. He had no trouble to compliment anyone without any ulterior motive because he was telling the truth. And on top of that, she found out he wasn't an incompetent dumbass. He just had to be explained things differently. Now, kids, we move on to the ninjutsu. Again, we'll practice the bunshin. Damn it, he thought to himself. Still the only basic jutsu he was incapable of using correctly, and this time his friend couldn't help because the technique became instinctive in her brain after mastering it, like any shinobi. It was impossible to describe it, just like someone can't explain how they breathe. He had a clue about why he never succeeded, though. The fox, Inoichi, and Ino gave him the solution. He was putting too much chakra in his jutsus, but how was he supposed to isolate a drop of water when he had an ocean? Hey, Irika-sensei, I think I'll never be able to produce a good clone. Isn't there any other way to do it? What do you mean? Well, with the thing in my belly, I have too much chakra to perform a technique demanding so little of it. Don't we have another cloning jutsu to fix the problem? The explanation made sense. Of course, it was impossible for him. Such a feat could only be achieved by chakra control required to be a medical ninja, and Irika couldn't let this kid perpetually failing just because he was different. Maybe I have a solution, but I need to ask Lord Hokage before. Huh? What? Because we're talking about teaching you a B-rank forbidden jutsu. He shouldn't have said that. Because now Naruto was excited at the simple mention of forbidden jutsu. He didn't know what the technique was, but surely it should be awesome, right? The first day of Naruto's new life at the academy came to an end. He got pretty much everything he wanted for now. Recognition from a teacher, a true friend he could rely on, and a feeling of accomplishment never attained before. What a great start. On the way to the Yamanaka flower shop. Don't forget you're coming with us. My dad is eager to bully us again. Is it truly that bad? I feel like we did fine for now. No, you did fine. Meanwhile, I was on the verge of collapsing. We've just started the real thing. That's what I'm afraid of. I don't have your crazy reserves, nor your stupid stamina, and I don't want you to be his standards for our future training, or else I'm doomed. For his defense, when he told us we'll be strengthening our bodies and mind, he truly meant it. You admitted yourself the perks are cool. And you can even forget about your diet if he keeps making us work out like that, you know. How do you even know I'm on a diet? Because you're bragging about it every day when you're around the Sasuke moron? Oh, yeah, damn it. Stupid decision, by the way. No shinobi can be fat due to all the physical work they do by default. You just don't understand girls at all, Naruto. Yup, and like Shikamaru, I don't want to cause it a pain in the ass. A firm voice was directed towards the insolent blonde. Language, kiddo. Oops, sorry, Inoichi-san. How did you appear so fast anyway? I didn't appeared. I was following you two silently on the path back to home for 5 minutes already. Naruto frowned. So, you were basically stalking? Scary. It wasn't stalking, boy. Merely an observation session. No matter how many fancy words you use, Dad. Naruto is right. That's stalking. Rude. Inoichi gave them a defeated look. How come I'm getting disrespected by my princess just a few days after she opened up to that brat? Well, anyways, how was your day? Great. Both of them responded at the same time. Dear Lord, now they're even in sync. We were the only ones to duel long enough to make it a draw, and I even managed to keep that damn leaf in check. The leaf? Oh, you mean the classic chakra control exercise? Yeah, Ino explained to me how chakra worked better than any teacher. They should have told me that way from the get-go. Now I feel like I wasted my entire childhood. Thanks again, Ino, by the way. You're welcome, special kid. Huh. So you already made progress with a better explanation? Couldn't anticipate that. Pretty neat. Ino grinned. Yeah, he just need to be told everything as if he was 5 years old. Now I can communicate with him correctly. Later I'll use some goo-goo gaga on my sentences. I'm sure it'll work. Naruto looked at her with a threatening smile. Hey, careful about what you say. I might try to pull a prank on you. Inoichi chose the perfect opportunity to entertain the banter. Please warn me before. I want to be there when it happens. Dad, you had it coming, but save your energy for our training. We'll be home soon. At the Hokage's office. Good evening, Irika. You wanted to see me? Yes, Lord Hokage. First of all, I must say I was greatly impressed by Naruto's development in a mere weekend. What did you do? Nothing. The praise should be addressed to Yamanaka Inoichi. He's the one I decided to employ to supervise and train the boy. Oh, that's why he became closer to the Yamanaka girl so quickly. It's expected. Naruto was always the friendly type. He just needed to be kept in check, and she's bossy enough for that. Hiruzen chuckled. It seems it runs in their clan, not to the extent of the Nara women, fortunately. Yes, but let's talk about the main reason I'm here. I have a request, Lord Hokage. What is it? With your permission, I want to teach Naruto the Shadow Clone Jutsu. He explained to me this afternoon how it would be impossible for him to gather the right amount of chakra to use normal clones due to the QB giving him too much reserves, and he made a fair point. And since the clone jutsu is required to be qualified as a genin, I think it's unfair to keep him restrained because of unforeseen consequences. A valid argument, and I think there isn't a better ninja in this village than him who can truly benefit from the whole potential of this technique. Hiruzen stood up to pick a scroll and a piece of paper and started copying the writing on the scroll on the paper. Here's the instructions for the jutsu with all the pros and cons of it. You're free to give him as soon as you leave. At this hour, he should still be at the Yamanaka household for his daily training with Inoichi. Thank you very much, Lord Hokage. I have faith in this boy. Me too, Irika. I'm ashamed I've took so much time to see he was voluntarily hindered by his superiors. It's time to correct our mistakes. Don't worry, Lord Hokage. I'm giving him the technique right away. He'll catch up in no time. Yamanaka Training Ground. The mental strengthening exercise was simple and efficient, a jinjutsu consisting in taking form of the deepest fears of the target. If they managed to withstand or break it, Inoichi considered they passed, and the next one would be stronger until they were no longer affected. For Ino, it was easier thanks to her lineage. For Naruto, however, It was a painful but necessary experience. Disappear, you fiend. Why are you even here, demon? You should have never been born. A failure like you can't become a ninja. Give up on your stupid dream. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. You don't know how I feel. You don't know how much I suffer. You don't know how hard it is to keep a straight face every day. You don't know how lucky you are that I discovered the truth this late. I despise you. All of you. I will kill you all. Hey kid, you hear me? Kurama? Stop the whining. You have people to call family now. You told them you won't give up. No more dwelling on the past. But it's hard, you know. They knew everything and still choose to loathe me. An innocent child. Prove them wrong like you did today. It's the best revenge you can have. Your parents didn't sacrifice their lives for you to become a stupid brat driven by hatred. I don't know. I'm scared. How do I know Ino and the rest won't turn their back on me when they'll learn about you? I don't know either. But the dad already accepted you for what you are. He even faced me to make sure I'm not a threat to you. I watched the girl closely. She don't seem the type to abandon a friend for something outside of their control. The only way to be sure is to tell her. No, not yet. I'm not prepared. You won't be able to hide it forever, especially when you'll start to use my power. For what I can see, you're still too fragile mentally and physically to use it, so it won't be a problem for now. Yeah, thanks for the encouragement. I think I'm done for today. I'm breaking the jutsu for you. After waking up, the blonde was met by eyes full of concern from his comrades. Naruto, you're all right? You look like you've seen a corpse. The Jonin asked. Fine, Inoichi-san. Thanks. Honestly, Ino, I don't know you do to manage that thing. Huh? Well, I just punch everything. She replied seriously. What? I don't know what your illusion looks like. Mine is full of random people telling me I'll never be a good kunoichi and I don't deserve my status of heiress. And this doesn't affect you? Of course it does, but so what? Screw them. It's a jinjutsu. And if there's people who really think like that in reality, I'll just prove them wrong by doing my best. Naruto smiled at the childish answer and started to laugh uncontrollably. You're amazing, you know. The girl grinned and stood proud, both arms on her waist. Yeah, I know. You better finish soon so that we can go to the next step. Watch me. I'll give you a run for your money, even if you're a Yamanaka. Inoichi took the time to cast a telepathic jutsu so that he could give a message to the boy without her daughter noticing. Naruto, I can't imagine how hard it is for you. So I'll just tell you that if you need to talk about something, I'm here. Thanks, Inoichi-san. It's just a trauma I need to surpass. I can't let it burden me forever. I forgot to mention it, but during weekdays I'll focus on your mind. The Academy already does a good job at keeping you in shape with their taijutsu spars. Therefore, our taijutsu sessions will only be during the weekends. Would be a shame if you were to go at school completely tired from too much workout. What about the rest, Dad? No ninjutsu? You told me you'll show me our clan's techniques. Not until you're done with all the strengthening. It's non-negotiable, albeit I can still teach you useful jutsus. And while we're talking about this subject, Naruto, and yes, do you still have trouble with your clones? MMH. I figured it's because I'm not good enough with my chakra control to isolate the quantity required. That goes without saying. In that case, I'll focus on that for Y-. It won't be necessary, Yamanaka-sen. Irika, what are you doing here? Excuse me for my sudden appearance. I came here to solve Naruto's problem. I'm aware of the cause, so to speak. I found a way to counter the issue, but I had to ask Lord Hokage for permission. Ino quickly took a glance at both adults. The cause of Naruto's problem? What do they mean by that? His chakra reserves are absurdly gigantic, but it's not that uncommon, unless there's something more. Oh, and what's your solution? The heir asked, thinking of all the possibilities he knew. Iriko was grinning while thinking of the next words coming from his mouth. The shadow clone jutsu. It instantly clicked for the blonde Jonin, asking himself how he never thought about it in the first place, slamming his fist on his open palm. Of course, that's genius. The blonde female couldn't keep up. Of course she couldn't. She never heard of that technique before, neither Naruto, but as long as it solved his problem, he wasn't concerned as how or why it would fix it. Shadow clone? What's that? Irika activated his teacher mode. To put it simply, the normal clones you all create are mere illusions, untangible bodies made for deception. Therefore, the chakra cost is practically non-existent. The shadow clones, however, are perfect copies of the caster, able to use any abilities from the user, be it ninjutsu, jinjutsu, taijutsu, or anything else. It sounds really cool, but what does it have to do with Naruto? Isn't it just a stronger version of a normal clone? It's a B-rank forbidden jutsu, and the reason why it's classified as forbidden is because creating a shadow clone divides your chakra equally to all of them, meaning a single one splits your reserve in half. See where this is going? Ino's eyes lightened in a fraction of seconds. Oh, yeah, it's obvious. For any average shinobi, doing more than one is a death wish, but Naruto won't have this problem at all. Furthermore, the quantity required is great enough to not have to deal with chakra control. Irika-sensei, that's incredible. Isn't it? No need to worry about wasting as little chakra as possible if your technique demand an atrocious quantity of it in the first place. Heard that, Naruto? You got a neat trick waiting for you here. Huh? I didn't understand what you said. Just the fact that with this I can finally use clones, right? Goddamn, he's an idiot when it comes to these things. Time for the 5-years-old explanation. The blondinette thought. Basically, you're going to make clones by spending a great portion of your chakra like you always do, and this time it will work. By judging his confused look and bland face, she wasn't sure he was fully aware of how powerful this jutsu would be. But oh well, as long as he could finally do a proper doppelganger, it was enough to satisfy him. Irika searched in his left pocket from his pants, containing the paper written by Hiruzen. Here's the instructions to perform the jutsu. Lord Hokage made sure to note every necessary information that could help you master it. Thanks, Irika-sensei. I really owe you one now. You can always pay our next meal at Ichiraku, right? He replied with a blink. No problem for me. Well then, I'm done here. Time for me to go. Ino and Naruto, I'll see you tomorrow. And he was gone. Naruto instantly opened the paper and started to read the instructions to learn the jutsu. The two Yamanaka waited for a solid 10 minutes before the blonde finally began to form a sentence. MH, doesn't seem too difficult. I think I've got the geist of it. Can I try it now? You bet you can. I want to see it right now. The girl screamed with stars in her eyes. It was the first time he saw Ino so fired up. He'd better not disappoint or else she would probably faint from the dopamine rush. Here I go, first the hand signs, then picturing in my head the numbers I want, and a little burst of chakra. Shadow, clone, jutsu. A large puff of white smoke surged right behind him, swept away by the wind to reveal two perfect replicas of Naruto, completely solid. The girl fell backward and landed on the ground before such a display. Amazing. On the first try, she was truly dumbstruck. The so-called dead last went from 3 years of inability to produce a convincing clone to constructing 2 solid copies of himself in a blink on the first try nonetheless. The Jonin witnessed the same miracle, completely baffled. Naruto, how are you feeling? No sudden sensation of fatigue? If I remember correctly what Irika said, you just split your chakra in 3. I'm good. I'm proud of myself, actually. I made only 2 for the test, but I feel like I can do much more. What? How many? Hard to estimate, but I think right now my limit is 50. What the hell? 50? That's already a regiment. I know the QB allows crazy things, however this is beyond anything I imagined. How far can he go if he keeps the training? Okay, regain your composure. You've got gold in your hands, and you better polish it. Ino intervened to break the silence. And do you think you can exceed the limit if you continue to refine this technique? Probably. It might take a while, though. Right now, they're not extremely resistant due to my lack of experience, but it should already be a good diversion in a real situation. You bet it is, she thought. Not only that, but if they can fight like you, even if they're weaker, you're still a whole team by yourself. Let's go home. I'll need a moment to process everything you can technically do now. Plus, I'm hungry. Yeah, me too. That's fine with you, Inoichi-san? The husband quickly pulled out the sleeve of his long black coat to check the hour on his watch. Shit, this late already? Rio is going to kill us. Brace yourselves, children. 3 years have passed since Naruto was introduced to the Yamanaka family and began his true journey towards greatness. At first, The news flinched all of his classmates. However, by seeing his gradually changing behavior and constant improvement, they were forced to recognize it was for the best, even if they couldn't understand why it was done so suddenly. The announcement of Mizuki's betrayal was akin to a kunai stab in the heart of the class, as they all realized they were misjudging the pariah all along because of a former teacher's twisted nature. It also raised many questions, such as why he was so hated by every adult to the point someone would legitimately try to kill him, and why all of them were given the order to never befriend him by their parents. As always, questions without satisfying answers. Of course, years of bad reputation weren't going to be forgotten or forgiven that easily. He was still despised by the villagers, and his comrades considered him like a no-name student. And that was enough. The bullying lessened, thanks to some blonde, bossy girlie who, despite all odds, wasn't going to let any slander towards her non-official foster brother go unpunished. Her already close relationship to the Ino-Shikicho clans was a blessing in disguise for the prankster, who got the friendship he rightfully wanted and deserved with this trio. Over the years, his rivalry with the Uchiha only grew stronger. They never admitted it, yet both of them valued it. They were each other's greatest motivator to go further and beyond, much to the pink-haired book-smart annoyment who couldn't believe these two always found an excuse to compete every single day, whatever the matter. Other than that, both blondes greatly improved by themselves. Naruto was now an average student with a trump card being his shadow clones. He could produce at a maximum of 100. Meanwhile, Ino could be considered the most resourceful heiress of her clan in years, considering her age. She learned all of the basic Yamanaka techniques, developed her taijutsu in an attempt to cover her family's greatest weakness, and had an unshakable mind of steel thanks to all the mental torture she went through. Alongside her training partner, Yamanaka Training Ground. For Naruto, it was finally the time. The fox judged he was good enough to pull a tiny bit of his chakra. When he learned it, Inoichi was understandingly fearful. That's why the young Jinchuriki promised him they'll do it together during one of their usual weekend training. And it was today. We're done with taijutsu for now. Keep it up, and I believe you won't have any trouble besting your opponent for the exam the next year. Thanks, Dad. So now what? We still have the rest of afternoon to do something. Inoichi paused for a long moment. It was unusual for him to not give an answer. But how could he cover the fact he was willingly going to let loose the power of a tailed beast in his training ground to her daughter? Sure, the third Hokage gave him many seals to hide the leaks when they'll start, but Ino wasn't an idiot. She will find out, so he better come up with a top-tier excuse. You can return home, Ino. We're done for the day. I have things to talk about with Naruto. Huh? Why can't I stay? There's nothing to do in the shop. We're closed today, and I don't feel like wasting hours of practice to wander around. Inoichi sighed. Of course it wasn't going to be easy. She was his daughter after all, and thanks to her relationship with Shikamaru, she was clever enough to ask questions. And asked she did, relentlessly, to never obtain the answer. How should I explain this? Naruto has a clan. We thought they didn't have any legacy to offer, but Lord Hokage informed us they left some scrolls in the village, and he wants us to uncover their secrets. And since it could be dangerous, only I, the direct supervisor of Naruto, and himself, their true heir, could try to do it before an official reveal if we succeed. Phew, what a great lie. Well, it wasn't 100% a lie to be fair. Naruto really had a clan, the Uzumakis, and they were close enough to the village to land them some of their jutsus, but no one never ever found one here, and the Uzumaki were extinct. I see. Is that true, Naruto? Please play along. Please play along, the father thought. If it wasn't for her daughter looking behind her to face the boy, he would have been already discovered with that panicking expression all over his visage. Yeah, it's true. Sorry for not telling you sooner, but I really don't want you to be in danger because of my foolishness, and to be honest, I really want you to be the first one to see it if I manage to do something cool and master it. So please, can you trust me? A convincing lie needs a little bit of truth mixed in it, and that was exactly what Naruto had to offer. He didn't want her to be endangered. It was the first time ever he would dig into the tailed beast power, and he wouldn't let anything happen to her precious best friend if he lost control. So the best way to keep her safe was to never let her attend to these sessions in the first place. Ino hummed for a whole minute. On one side, her signals were all red. There was definitely something fishy here, and on the other side, a part of her was telling her to trust her best friend. He was cool. Not cooler than Uchiha Sasuke, obviously, but she tagged alongside him long enough to learn he was better than he would show. Fine, I get it. You better show me the results quickly, or else you'll repay me the wasted hours of training in ramen bowls at Ichiraku. Naruto nodded without responding, and she left with a quick jump towards the path leading to the flower shop. You lie better than expected. Yeah, and I really don't like it. I'll have to tell her someday. Just like with everyone else. Have you decided when, by the way? At first I thought I would reveal it after the graduation exams if I passed, but since I've never got the occasion to use his strength, I think I'll wait a little longer. I don't want to fail my allies. It's your choice. Whatever your decision, it won't be wrong. Thanks. So, can I contact him? Go for it. With the years, he learned how to call upon the beast when he needed advice. Before, only the fox could reach him because his head was a mess. Once he learned how to meditate, he could discuss with him at will. Kurama. Ready to go, Brad? Yeah. Tell the guy to contact me with his mind transfer technique. It's easier if he can also hear my directives. He wants you to enter my mind for the instructions. That's fine by me. Mind transfer. The sewer was strangely comforting, warm enough but not too much, with a silence sporadically broke by the nine-tailed fox commands. This is how we'll proceed. I'll give you half of what your body can currently tolerate. Once you're feeling the chakras surging in your system, it will automatically reinforce your emotions. Your goal is to stay calm as long as possible. I warn you, the first time isn't a pleasant experience, so bear with it. Phrasing. That was the first thought of the Mind Master. What happens if he can't do it? Then I'll forcefully remove my chakra from his body. It should be enough to put him down. Keep in mind that the stronger his emotions are, the less I can act, particularly if it's the negative ones. Naruto swallowed his saliva. He instinctively knew what the fox meant. So, if for some reason I tap into your power while I'm angry, you'll have difficulties to prevent me from doing something stupid? Exactly. You're the trigger. Under bad circumstances, my chakra is attracted to your negativity and reinforce it continuously. In response to that, it fills your mind and body even more like a poison. It's a vicious circle. Inoichi was really wondering if it was a good idea to test after all. Isn't there any way to stop him if you failed to do it? I'm not sure. Perhaps if you have a technique to stop his brain from working, it should probably do the trick, but I don't think we want to come to this conclusion. Great, so it's either brainwashing or the demon take control to stop the kid. There is no other option. That's why I waited for so long. I needed to make sure the brat wasn't suffering from too much trauma. We must be cautious. Okay. If anything happens, I'll do something. Are you ready to go, Naruto? I'm scared, but we can't know unless we try. Let's do it. As soon as he made the decision, the kid felt an immense force flowing through his entire body. A stream of lava tearing his veins apart. He was burning with power. Oceanic blue iris turned in a fierce scarlet red color. The circular pupil slitted to match the look of the devilish creature. The strange whiskers he was born with were now darker and more pronounced than usual. His fingernails sharpened enough to be called claws, teeth shaped like fangs, and his hair texture could be mistaken for a fur. If all these transformations weren't enough to confirm the use of an ancient power, then the nail in the coffin would be the appearance of a red chakra taking form of a fox around him, heating up the air while dancing like flames. The kid was more animalistic than human. It burns. My insides are on fire. What am I feeling? Anger? Bloodlust? What's happening? I'm overflowing with power, yet I don't like anything about it. Stay calm. Everything's okay. You prepared for it. You knew it would come one day. Focus on something. Anything. Inoichi watched in disbelief. All the seals he installed around the area weren't for nothing. He read reports of the previous Jinchurikis outbursts to prepare for this day, yet it was completely different for what he expected. There is a massive difference between imagination and experimenting it yourself. Is that what Kushina and Minato had to deal with? No, the kid can be reasoned with and the fox won't do anything. I'm sure it was far worse back then. Still, the whole atmosphere around him is malevolent. How the hell is he supposed to tame this thing? Naruto, can you hear me? Don't lose your calm for a second. Accommodate your body to this sensation. Focus on something to draw your attention from the pain. Damn it. Kurama told me it wouldn't be pleasant. But what the hell is that? It's horrifying. My entire body wants to rip everything in sight apart. Focus. Why do I need this? What is the purpose behind it? Naruto mustered all his remaining mental strength to think about why he wanted to control such a power in the first place. What was worth the pain he was enduring? That's right. I don't want to fail them. I need to prove my worth. They accepted me. I must pay them back. The howling chakra began to lessen its flow, adapting a much more appealing look by encroaching into Naruto's skin. Naruto, what's happening? The chakra is sticking to his skin like some kind of aura. The beast-like kid harbored a smile, desperately wanting to reassure his mentor. I'm fine, Oichi-san. I feel like as long as I keep my goal in mind, I can control it. Good. That's the first step. From now on, you'll be learning how to fight like a Jinchuriki brat. On the way back to Yamanaka's flower shop, the kunoichi was on her way to return home. Oh, they'll pay her back for wasting her time and keeping a secret. No need to be angry. She has the whole day to think of a punishment. Maybe instead of the free meals at Ichiraku, she can try to pull a prank. No, it won't work. Her opponent is the prankster of Konoha. Give him a beating during a spar? Impossible. They were evenly matched. Making him wear her own clothes for an entire day? Nope. As fun as it could be, she would be too embarrassed to show her classmates they were close enough to do this kind of thing. Again, no need to rush. She have a whole day to think ABO. Terror. Pure, unfiltered terror. And rage? A lot of it. Too much of it, actually. It was coming from the training ground she left minutes ago. It was only a few meters behind her. She took a moment to lean on the wood wall on the road, trying to calm herself. Her legs were shaking. Her whole body was screaming at her to leave the place immediately. The air shifted of temperature. What was a nice breeze turned into a devouring blaze. What have they done? What kind of forbidden jutsu could unleash such a vile sentiment piercing the environment? I trust you both, but fuck. Wait for me, morons. What she saw would be engraved in her memories for eternity. The innocent, pure, and joyful orphan she learned to like and treat as her own brother was enveloped in a vermilion chakra stuck to his skin. No more blue eyes. They were bloodshot red with the pupils of a predator. He was standing on all fours. From her distance, it looked like his hands were replaced by claws and his notorious whiskers drastically darkened. And yet, he was calm. Her own father stared at him, arms crossed with blind trust. What the hell are you doing? The panicked girl screamed. Ino, why are you still here? I told you to go home. Inoichi thought he made a terrible mistake. Maybe the seals weren't strong enough to camouflage Kyuubi's influence if she was not far enough. What a miscalculation. Shit. Now how do we explain this mess? I came back because I felt everything. Tell me why Naruto is in such a state. What have you done? Fuck. No more hiding, I guess. I'm sorry, Naruto, but your first step towards progress as a trusting Jinchuriki starts here. Naruto felt awkward. Her best friend rushed back to them because she was worried. She witnessed the strength of the nine-tailed fox, and the only thought crossing her mind was worrying about his condition. She wasn't afraid of the power. She was afraid of what happened to him. He took a long breath before standing up and slowly walking towards her. And Naruto, hey, are you all right? What's happening to you? No response. What is this? How can you walk like everything is fine? His eyes met hers. Yeah, she's not afraid of him. Definitely not. She's scared because she cares. Because everything is fine. She pointed her finger at him, still shaky like she was doing her best resisting the cold of winter without clothes. What? It's not the time to joke around. Look at you. It's like you're possessed by a demonic force or something. Nice guess. Not far from the truth. What do you mean? I need answers. Now, the boy looked down with a saddened smile. Yeah, you're right. I should have told you long ago. But before that, tell me honestly, what do you think about it? About what? My appearance, the vibes I give, this kind of things? I don't give a shit about that. Just tell me what's happening to you, and if you're okay. If you're possessed by some Uzumaki demon, I'll beat the shit out of it. The laugh was too hard to contain. The tone was deeper than usual, probably because of the fox's influence. You come up with the craziest ideas, honestly. But this was not the moment for laughter. For the second time, he took a deep breath and met her pale blue eyes again. Remember what we were told about how the fourth Hokage defeated the nine-tailed fox in our class? Why, yeah. Why does it matter? It wasn't the full truth. They told us that he defeated it, but not how. Do you know how we can deal with a pure being of chakra? I don't know. If it's just pure chakra, then maybe we just need to confine it some we dash. She stopped in her tracks, using all of her cognitive abilities to take a good look at him. And she remembered the first time he came to her house. All the suspicions she had through the years. In no way. Naruto lifted his shirt to point his finger towards the seal on his abdomen, while the red chakra and his changed looks were starting to fade away. I'm a Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. I learned it 3 years ago. That's also the reason why your father trained me, to prepare me to control this power. It explained a lot of things. The abnormal strength, the absurd stamina, his gigantic amount of chakra. But the most important of all is this why you were treated like a nuisance by everyone? He saw her tears beginning to form. It's unfair. You didn't ask for this. You didn't know. You're not responsible for what happened. You even lost your parents during this tragedy. I know. I've come to terms with it. Or so I think. But the villagers see the fox before they see me. What about you? You may look like a human version of him, but you're not him. That's obvious. Naruto sensed a feeling of relief run through all over his body. I'm glad. To tell you the truth, I was scared to tell you because of what you could think of me after that. Well, good job. Now I'm scared of what can happen to you, she replied while wiping her tears. Inoichi stayed silent during their entire conversation. They needed it. However, he had to be sure of something. Ino, I'm sorry we tried to keep you in the dark, but you must understand that this secret is classified. No one can ever know about it if Naruto himself doesn't reveal it. That's stupid. I saw the glares he's constantly receiving. All the adults know, and they force their beliefs on their children because they can't think for themselves. Bunch of hypocrites. I'm proud of your reasoning. You're right, it's stupid, but rules are rules. And what do we do now? Cool, I just learned that the big giant fox who destroyed the village 11 years ago is inside my best friend. Naruto intervened with a grin. Keep doing what you've always done. There's nothing to fear. I'll tell the truth to everyone when I'm ready. But what if they turn their back on you and treat you like the whole village did? It won't happen. Huh? You weren't scared. You saw me, not QB. Why would it be different for our friends? They don't know you as much as I do. True. But we came to the academy to become shinobis, future comrades to protect the village, right? Any shinobi should be able to trust his allies. You're far too optimistic, you moron. Maybe, but for now you're proving me right. Just shut up for a moment, please. This is too much for me to handle right now. Yeah. Sorry for the scare anyway. But you'll probably need to meet the fox in the future, though. I don't know why, but he's cool. It's him who told me how to handle his chakra. Another stupid thing to say. No, it's the truth, Ino. Inoichi responded. I know it sounds completely stupid, but we've been discussing with the nine-tailed fox in Naruto's mind for a while now. And you could technically do the same. Oh, fuck. Let's go back. You both had a rough day. I need to report to Lord Hokage that you know about Naruto. Okay, but now I want to be there too when he'll practice with this goddamn chakra. I'll see what I can do. The demonic fox watched the whole scene silently. There was hope for his host. Just like Kushina. I'm going to enjoy this. And that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.